American dream. He's just a common man, working hard with his hands. He's just a common man, working hard for the man. Hey, he's a man.
That's right, everybody. It's the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes here to talk to you a little bit about living hard, because living hard, that's hard times. You're heading down to the ringside to go ahead and get yourself a fight with Ric Flair for that NWA championship, and he brings along the Four Horsemen and they beat your ass. That's hard times. Everybody else on the block, they got that 56K internet, and you running with that 14-4. That's hard times. Everybody done ate all the beans out the can, so you stuck with nothing but the cans. That's hard times, mama. You're grateful on your birthday because your mama, she put down the frying pan and pick up a belt for a change. That's hard times, daddy. When the only thing lower than your IQ is your white blood cell count, that's hard times, baby.
Dream.
When it...
Dream. Dream. Dream.
No, but dream. Who let you back in the house? Oh, that's hard times, baby.
Get out. Go. Now.
God damn it, Dream.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Muta Scale Radio. I am your host, Mr.NSFW, and here I am with a WWE Week in Review. I'm going to give you a quick little breakdown of the ups and downs of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Just as and spoiler alert, NXT is the better show. Before we get any of this started, I wanted to say thank you so much to anybody and everybody that would listen to the first edition. I super appreciated it. It does my chubby little black heart good to hear that, well, to see, rather, that people are interested in anything I have to say at all, even if you disagree with it or you agree with it. It feels really, really good. Second, I would like to say, rest in peace, Batman. Yes, that's right. Adam West died today, 88 years old. I feel like there should be something to be said, but I can't honestly think of it. So, shout out to Adam. You were one of the good ones. Anyways, so let's get down to brass tacks here. Raw. It's fairly typical 3-hour show of mostly filler, little bit of wrestling, and then more filler. I say that, though, and let me tell you, Samoa Joe may have made a lot more people a believer in the fact that he can beat Brock Lesnar. And it pains me to say this about my wife, I do not believe he can do it. I just don't. I don't think that there's any way possible he's going to beat him. Not from a quote-unquote logistic standpoint, but from the fact that they just ride Lesnar's dick so hard. So hard. One point I will break into why I think the Beast Incarnate is ugh. But for now, we'll just leave it at that. However, backtracking, the Samoa Joe segment was phenomenal. Comes out, talking a great game about how he's not scared, about how he's going to make him pay and everything. And then the Advocate comes out. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Everybody Knows. Heyman did a fantastic job putting him over, too, making it seem like he was legitimately afraid of what Samoa Joe might do to Brock Lesnar. And I, for one, appreciate that. I love Paulie. He's so good on the mic, and there is no way that he's not going to put somebody over if the situation is right and it calls for it. And in this case, it does, because Samoa Joe, probably second most lackluster person out of that Fatal 5-Way at the last event. He's probably the second least likely one, just because Rollins has been on a tear, Reigns is... and Balor was already put over once by Paulie, so that left Bray Wyatt and Samoa Joe as the weakest links. And as awesome as Bray Wyatt is not awesome. The Eater of Pinfalls got destroyed again. I know I jumped way ahead talking about the Samoa Joe segment because that happened later on in the evening. Raw actually opened with Bray Wyatt coming out, talking his I'm the new face of fear. Everybody's I will judge you all. You're all guilty of it. I mean, just I love him. I absolutely do. But my God, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? He's the worst kind of internet troll. He's that one that talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, but doesn't back up a fucking thing. Even when he had meatheads behind him, mind you, I love Luke Harper and the whole Wyatt family was a fantastic thing. I hated to see that go. Even when he had them, he still was a well enough with this. It's not working. So you're guilty, and you're guilty, and you're guilty, and Roman Reigns is guilty, man. Roman Reigns is and there goes my night, and Raw just started. Reigns comes out and puffs his chest out. I want to see what happens when you talk smack in my yard. And he open hand slaps him across the face, and we have a match. Woo! Woo! Admittedly, though, the match was actually enjoyable. Like, I enjoyed watching them. Reigns sells well. He works really well within the story. And Bray has several moments throughout pretty much all of his matches. There's a couple that are kind of... But this one was a good one. The only thing that sucked is Bray ate another goddamn pinfall. Couldn't have had a DQ. Couldn't have had a double count out, because I saw a situation where they were on the outside. Roman just hit Bray with a drive-by kick. Great name. And as he's going to take him out, Bray spins around and clotheslines the shit out of him. And they're both down and out and everything. And that right there could have been it. Matter of fact, they got to the point where Reigns had to slide in the ring at 9.5, almost a 10 count, to break it up, because he would have been counted out. We couldn't have just had that. We couldn't have just fucking had a double count out. Neither of these guys would have looked any worse with that. But no, we have to have the big dog look like the big dog. And then Bray Wyatt goes on to nothing. Fucking oblivion. Absolute fucking oblivion. He goes on to nothing. Nothing. I know there's supposedly this plan that he's supposed to be taking on Finn Balor, but Finn Balor just seems to be acting like he's going on to bigger and better things. Mind you, I don't know what those are, because he got nothing. The discussion went back to the ladies' division and the ladies' title, and how Alexa Bliss may or may not have said something about owing Nia Jax a match for the belt. So she's, of course, being the sniveling, cowardly heel that she is, tries to find a way to be like, look, everybody, we're friends, aren't we? We have a severe Nia Jax problem, and I think we need to take care of this, right? Girl power all the way. And she basically got told to step. The girls were like, nah, we're gonna watch you get your ass kicked. So they came down. Not sure why they came down. Like, the mindset behind that was silly to me. They could have just stood sideways and looked at the monitor like every other idiot does. But no, they actually had to come down to ringside to watch it, which led to Alexa Bliss finding a way to get them into a fight with her to get disqualified so she could get her belt, so she could run away, piss off Nia Jax. Nia Jax beats the hell out of the other two girls being Mickie James and Dana Brooke. And I know I said a name, you probably don't know who that is. And no, that's not Mickie, that you don't know who that is. That's Dana Brooke. Why we ever took this woman off of NXT, or why we even brought her into NXT and the WWE in the first place, I have no idea. That's a lie. I know exactly why it is. She's got really big boobs and really, really big muscles. And we all know Vinnie Mac likes them. We've got an ongoing situation with Enzo and Big Cass, where Enzo's been beaten up by a mystery assailant. We have no idea who it is. He has no idea who it is, because obviously they jumped him from behind. Well, this week, Cass is saying, I've got your back, bro. I will watch out for everything and make sure you don't get hurt. And then he walks away from him. I'm assuming it was just there for the comedy shtick, but it seems kind of stupid to be like, I got your back. I'm going to walk away now. Huh? So later on in the night, Miz, I know this seems random, but Miz is coming out to celebrate winning the IC title, and he sees Big Cass lying on the ground, covered in garbage, just absolutely look like he's had the shit kicked out of him, with a gold chain lying next to him. referees and officials start showing up, and then Enzo comes over, and what happened? What, did you see who did this? Did you? And of course he didn't see who did it. Do you really think that he would see who did it? Like, he obviously got blindsided and beat up and everything. And of course, the chain's there. And why would the chain be there? The chain is, of course, one of Enzo's. A way to build intrigue and make you think that maybe Enzo beat Big Cass up. Because that's feasible. Even from a stealthy position, like even swooping in like a deadly assassin. Enzo is 15 pounds soaking wet. There's no way he's doing anything to 7 foot tall, can't teach that Big Cass. There's no way. There's no way. But I guess suspend disbelief, because that's what you have to do as a wrestling fan, I know. And watch and just see. I'm interested because I want to know, but I just have a really bad feeling with the way we're building this whole thing as to who done it, that it's just gonna flop. It's gonna turn out to be complete bupkis. Well, Cass and Enzo are supposed to have a match against the Good Brothers, or the Club, and unfortunately, because Cass is injured, he can't do it, so Enzo has to call in a favor. He calls in, "Well, it's a big slow," and we have ourselves a tag match with a guy who is 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that with the Certified G. The comedy aspect of the match was good. The fact that they took two talented guys in Good Brothers / the Club and just waffled them for no good reason, I'll never know. Let's take some of the biggest names from indie scene and from Japan and bring them over here, and let's just use them as toilet paper for our guys. There's no better explanation. None whatsoever. There's no furthering like, oh, just you wait, the Club's got a big thing coming. No, they don't. They do not. I will absolutely eat a hat dipped in tartar sauce if they actually do have something big coming out of just getting squashed all the time. But they don't. They don't. Backtracking a bit again, I know I need to quit digressing and actually progress. But the Enzo and Cass thing is interesting, and I am looking forward to see what they do with it. I just really have a feeling they're just gonna... Also, looking forward to discovering what the hell is going on with General Manager Kurt Angle and Corey Graves, their little get-togethers. Now, it seems like it's just, it almost looks like tech support at this point. It looks like old man Angle's like, I can't work my cell phone. Could you help me out with this? I mean, remember, I broke my freaking neck twice, and I won a gold medal. Them were the days. I love Kurt Angle, though. I mean, he's fucking super legit athlete, and he was great in his run. And I'll be damned if I don't sing "You Suck" along with his theme. But it's weird that he's like, Corey, you're on the air, I know, but could you come talk to me for a minute? We got a thing, and we're looking at the phone, and but for what? I can't say it in a negative. For what? That's really overly sarcastic for a genuine question. For what? I want to know. I hope it doesn't take months and months and months to build this thing, but, I mean, a couple more weeks isn't going to hurt it. I'm just afraid it's going to turn into these are emails or text messages or phone calls from either the boss or from the boss's daughter. And then it's just signaling Stephanie's coming back. It could be Triple H. It could be Triple H is coming back, too, because we haven't seen him since Rollins took him out at Mania. Oh! Speaking of, I have to go back, way back to the first one and say that I said we haven't seen Brock Lesnar since SummerSlam. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. The last event we saw him at was WrestleMania. SummerSlam was at this point almost a year ago. So that was a little more extreme than I needed to go. And I just, hopefully it's not Stephanie, but it could be. And the only reason why I would be happy if it's Triple H is if something comes of it. But I don't know if anything's going to. I just don't. We round the night out with Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins. And this, of course, these guys have great matches all the time. A little too divey with the fact that Rollins dove on him from 3 different angles and did a lot more stuff off of the top than I think he would ordinarily do. Mind you, this is face Rollins, so face Rollins gotta fly, because that's what got him over, I guess. I don't know. I mark out a lot less for that stuff than I do for the fact that he got Joe up for a Falcon Arrow. And this isn't one of these things where, like, he needed the extra oomph from getting him off of the top rope or anything. He legitimately got him up for a Falcon Arrow, and it was amazing. The only problem is, I don't like the fact that a Falcon Arrow gets used as a near fall, as a high spot. It should be the end. Should be end of the match. And here's another bit of weird. These two are fighting, and in the middle of Rollins getting ready to put the finishing touches on Joe, lights go out, and all that ooga booga booga stuff from Bray Wyatt happens. Lights come back on. Rollins, why would you even bother? Why would you get distracted by this? He hasn't beat anybody. He hasn't done anything worth mentioning, and he lost earlier in the night. Why would you be afraid of him? I understand we're trying to make him seem credible, but WWE has done nothing to make him seem credible, so why would anybody even react? It's the same nauseating idea as when John Cena does his 5 moves of doom, which always stem from after you've taken a couple of shoulder checks, you go and throw a punch, which he always ducks. Stop throwing the fucking punch. Anyways, Coquina Clutch gets applied, Rollins passes out, Samoa Joe wins. Fantastic. Samoa Joe looks strong as hell, looks great. He has now won 2 in a row, and he has... During his interview with Paul Heyman, a fact which I probably should have mentioned, but I'm very sporadic and a bit of a dum-dum. In his interview with Paul Heyman, not really an interview, in his talking segment with Paul Heyman, he put him in the Coquina Clutch as well, after describing to him in intimate detail what it was going to be like. And while he's choking the life out of that fat schmuck, he's telling him, you tell him this, because he wants Brock Lesnar. And I'm looking forward to it, except for I'm afraid it's going to be a one and done. I would like it to be a program, a feud, a few matches, and everything, but no, we're going to build it up for... we've got time. We've got time till between now and Jamaican Red Nuts. But, I don't know. JR had said that he thought it was a good idea to keep them separate until then, really build up the big match feel. Like, give them a little bit of a squabble where it looks like this is bad news that they've met each other, but you can't let them get nose to nose because they're just going to beat the hell out of each other, and it's going to be bad news. Even though it's not actually going to be bad news because it's going to be great television. But keep them separate. Have them bump chests a little bit and then split them up, tear away brawl, and then they can never be in the same place at the same time until the main event. That is what you need to do, because that's going to book the scarcity angle. If we've already seen them throw down a bunch of times, it's not going to be... Plus, I cannot stand the 50-50 aspect of it, because it's going to be Brock Lesnar gets Coquina clutched once, and at one point and then another point he ends up hitting the F5 or putting him in the Kimura or something along those lines. It's going to be something like that, and it just shouldn't be, but it's gonna. On to SmackDown. SmackDown did something right. I shouldn't say something right. SmackDown tends to be a fairly decent show for the athletics part of it. Like, the matches, more often than not, are better than what they are on Raw. And the talky segments tend to be either funnier or a little more impactful, but this one was sort of as well. They actually have to build up to Money in the Bank, which is, oh my God, a week from tomorrow. So, to build it up, they show off this historic moment that is the first ever woman's Money in the Bank case. And thank the Baker that there is not a Divas division anymore, because that thing would be absolutely just rhinestoned and bedazzled to hell. But it's not. It looks good. White with some gold and a little bit of green. It looks good. Now, for some reason, they made it smaller, which I guess is what you should do for the fact that these women could carry a regular suitcase, all right? It's not like a regular one of these cases is all that heavy. You can tell there's nothing in it all the time. Usually it's a piece of paper. Are we implying that they need to have a smaller contract, too, because they're women? It's slight lunacy to me, but it's fine. I guess a way to differentiate it, even though the color difference wasn't enough. Anyways, historic moment where we're getting together and we're discussing it. All the ladies are in the ring, talking about how they're gonna get it. Charlotte, woo! Natalya comes in, calls the kettle black, talks about how she needs to stop milking her father's legend, which then gets thrown back at her because she's milking her Uncle Brett's legend. I feel it's unfair that they keep mentioning the fact that she is Brett's niece when she's Jim Neidhart's daughter. Jim Neidhart was a part of the Hart Foundation too, folks. Remember Big Beard that cackled? You know? I mean, we can't just ignore him and say Bret Hart was the only one. Many a member of the Hart Foundation. Out comes Naomi to play up the match. Naomi, who is the current champion, to play up the fact that she wishes she could be in it. And we do a lot in WWE. I say we like I'm part of it. Look at me. I'm some kind of asshole over here. I'm totally the reason why WWE is what it is. We do a lot to make sure that it's okay for the kids to watch and everything like that. And there's a lot of inclusivity and making things good. But what happens to those children or those people in general who happen to be hypersensitive to light and, might be epileptic? Her entrance, Naomi's that is the worst for that. The worst. Just the lights and the noise. And, I mean, it almost gives me a seizure, and I'm not epileptic in the slightest. It just... And, I mean, it's a glorified stripper bit. Like, it just is. It's a stripper meets a cheerleader, and everybody eats it up. Like, wow, she's really motivated. Is she motivated? They just gave her another Dancy Pants gimmick, because that's all they seem to want to do with these people. It's like, oh, you can dance? Cool, you're a dancer. But maybe she could be something else. Mind you, she tried going somewhere else with being the mean girl, and that absolutely fell through. Nobody's buying it. I don't like her image. The bright green and the dancing and the glowy shoes and the glowy everything. I mean, feel the glow. I have no interest in the glow. Not a bit, Naomi. And a matter of fact, you keep your fucking glow off of me, or I'm calling the cops. Anyways, she comes out to hype the match and talk about, it's gonna be lit, y'all. Thank you. My God, could you have put it any more eloquently? I don't honestly think I could have celebrated this match more than that. It is, in fact, going to be lit, y'all. Lit. All of a sudden, new music kicks on, this really messy piano bit, and out comes Lana. And let me tell you, she's not dressed to wrestle, which I guess is okay, but she looks good in blue gown, but too much makeup, girl. Too much makeup. All the makeup made her look, hate to say it, she looked a little bit like the pre-op. It's a little, just it was too much. The cheekbones sticking out 5 miles on either side, just big fat red lips, everything just, it was too much. That dress looked though. She comes in with her bullshit Bulgarian shit, and wants to insert herself into the match. What makes me laugh is that Shane O'Mac's like, this is not the time nor the place. This doesn't work for me. This is not working for me at all. And of course, she makes something that could be seen as an innuendo, but it was kind of weak. Talking about how Naomi can't be in the match, but she can, and big smiles. And the ring laughs at her because we're all mean girls. It's high school all over again. Naomi did bring up a good point. Have you ever had a singles match? Who have you beaten? You think you can hang in a ladder match? And then her debut, getting shit all over by the mean girls. She gets ostracized, thrown out, sent packing, and we have a 6-woman tag match with Naomi, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch against the, I don't even want to say it, the Welcoming Committee. Yes, that's the gimmick name. That's the name of the quote-unquote faction. The Welcoming Committee. If you couldn't tell, that was me hitting my head. It's so silly. But anyways, 6-woman tag match, and, women got their spots in. They were looking good. Great chemistry between Charlotte and Natalya. Like, they work really well together. And I'm actually impressed with the fact that Tamina gets in a little bit more than just a super kick. She used to just be, that was it. She would just do a super kick, and that's all she wrote. And I was okay with it because she was a bodyguard for AJ Lee back in the day. Oh, AJ Lee, how we miss you. But now she's more than that, which is great. Although she's so bad on the mic. So bad. But she's a brute. Mind you, she got nothing on Nia Jax, but she's a brute. She's the resident heavyweight. Why do all of the other women have outfits that expose something while Tamina is covered almost head to toe? From knuckle to fingertip and from neck to forehead. That's all that's exposed on her. I'm not saying I need her to be half naked. I mean, I'm not saying that by any means. It's just what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If they're all going to be wearing some kind of outfit that doesn't cover everything, why does she? I mean, I could be making a mountain out of a molehill here. I probably am. I have been known to do that in the past. Shut up, Dream.
That's hard time, baby.
No, seriously, get out. Anyways, so they have their match, and it ends with Naomi about to do a springboard move. Lana slinks her way out, throws Naomi's leg off the apron. She lands back first, rolls in, gets the absolute teeth kicked out of her by Tamina. Tamina gets the pin. Impressive, too, because Tamina just doesn't do anything. She's the muscle, but she really rarely does anything. So to see her get the pin was good because it made it look like, hey, maybe she can win this thing. I don't know why I would think that because Money in the Bank, you got to climb a ladder as opposed to getting a pinfall. But you know what I mean. The win makes her look good. And speaking of having to climb a ladder, why the fuck do we have to take this case and hang it over the ring a week and a half before the event? Like, what's the point? Why is it there? Is it going to stay there overnight? You know, until then, because we got a lot of cases then, because this event is not the last event until the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is next Sunday, so it's just going to be hanging in there. It's just silly. I don't know, like, we need to let everybody know that this is what this is all about. We don't need to know that. We know. If you've done your goddamn job right, WWE, we know. We get a fashion file, which these are funny. I like Breezango together. They do have a good character. They have good chemistry, rather. And the talking to each other through thoughts is funny, especially when it leads to trying to talk to other people, in this case the New Day, with their thoughts, and them being like, wait, you can't hear us? And them looking at them like they're crazy, which adds great to the comedy. I just hope this isn't a permanent thing, because the more expected a gimmick is, the less entertaining it becomes as it goes on. It's redundancy. You can't eat the same meal every night, so you can't stomach the same garbage every night either. I say garbage, but it was entertaining. I did definitely enjoy it. They're talking with the New Day. New Day's looking for information on their opponent for the tag titles, the Usos. So they're getting all of the intel that the Fashion Police Breezango have on them. Later on that night, we lead to a match between the New Day and the Colognes. Not a terrible match. I mean, it was good back and forth. Basically, it was mostly filler, just a way to show everybody that the New Day's back, and they are back, and they're very good. Big E has come such a long way from when he was just a bruiser working for Dolph Ziggler. He is great, and he's really agile. And what's funny is I'm noticing he looks like he's in better shape than Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods has actually he's building up a bit of a muscle gut. I mean, that could just be from lack of in-ring anything, because New Day hasn't really done too much recently. They've just been in a couple of vignettes talking about how they're coming to SmackDown, and finally they're on SmackDown, which is good. I am looking forward to their match with the Usos, because since the Usos have turned heel, it has become a little more interesting, though I hear praise for their talking points, their promo work, where they're, talking down their opponents. It's a little high school gangster rap juvenile. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. Like, you step to me, you get dealt with. Really? I don't think that actually works that way. At least not in the WWE, but who knows. We catch Shane O'Mac backstage admiring the... not even gold-plated at this point. It's like... I don't even know what it's covered in. It's covered in, like, yellow paint. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy. And then Mojo Rawley, Mr. Why are you even here? He got a call-up? Really? That guy got a call-up? I don't even know. Anyways, he's there and he's like, I feel like I've been a ghost here on SmackDown. That's because you have been. And I wish you'd go back to it. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't had his moment to shine. And he's using the fact that he beat the jobber Maharaja and not the current champion. But he's saying he beat the current champion twice, and because of which he deserves to be given a shot to do something, to prove that he can do something. I guess you can't deny that, and Shane couldn't deny that either, so he gave him a match with the modern day Maharaja, the SmackDown champion, Jinder Mahal. Now, I have to do a 2-bit mid-review rant here and explain that your world champion should not be coming out in the middle of the show. If he's cutting a promo, maybe. If he's having a match, he should be main event, because as the champion, he's the big fucking deal. That's the whole point. Your heavyweight belt or your world title, your universal title, any of those big full-end main event titles should not be going on in the middle of the show. I know they may have done it in the past with development talent, and maybe that's what Mojo is. Just no. So they have their match. Mojo is essentially a less charismatic Ultimate Warrior. He runs to the ring, he bounces around, and he's way too hyper for his own good. Sorry, he's hype. He gets hype. He stays hype. Everything's hype. He's a bro. A bro. He's absolutely a frat boy. Like, he is. He's a do you even lift bro, frat boy, crack the beer can over the head. Let's do a couple of keg stands and maybe slip a little something in a girl's drink. I'm sorry, that's inappropriate. Mojo Rawley wouldn't do that. Nobody in the WWE would do that. I'm just saying. He comes out and he's taking on Jinder Mahal, and the match isn't bad. Jinder Mahal is looking far better since he's gotten juiced to the tits. And here comes the second part of the mid-match rant. Mid-breakdown, whatever. You know what I'm saying. I hope you do, because I don't. Jinder Mahal is the failed experiment of the year so far. The internet community wants WWE to push newer stars, not keep milking the same old talent that they had. So they go ahead and they don't hinder Jinder, they give him the belt and they give him a push. The problem is, this is not necessarily a different person. This is not an AJ Styles. This is not a Shinsuke Nakamura. This is not a Sami Zayn, a Kevin Owens. This is none of these people. This is another person built up from WWE's own biolab, juices himself to the tits and gets gigantic with fucking garden hoses for veins, and they give him the belt, and we're supposed to all of a sudden just be like, wow, they gave it to somebody new. I'm really excited. They're pushing somebody new. It's not new. It's the same roid rage psycho bullshit they've been doing for decades. They took it off of a less roided out guy to put it on a more roided out guy. And we're supposed to be like, oh my God, they're doing it for somebody else. It's about time. It's not about time. And Mojo doesn't have the greatest body, but Mojo is also one of those hype bros built from their own fucking workshop where they build people. He's not a different one. He's not a different wrestler. He's not new to what we've seen. And honestly, I don't think he's ready for much. A little bit more, and I think he'll be at least okay for a lower mid-card push of some sort. I don't know why we gave him the goddamn statue. It's done nothing for anybody else that won it. If anything, it was a death sentence for fucking Cesaro. And of course we gave it to the Big Show, but let's face it, that should have been the Big Show's last year. He should have won that, celebrated it, and whoosh, gone. See you later, buddy. But he didn't. Mahal cuts a promo talking about how Randy Orton is not going to steal the belt from him. He's going to keep it. And honestly, I hope he does, because I'm tired. Randy Orton he gives me a big sigh out of nowhere. The second I hear voices pops up, I zone out. If anything, he puts me right the fuck to sleep. I get it. He's trying to work safer now because he has injured himself working less safe. But it's just boring. It's going through the motion match after match until he gets the RKO. And I'm sorry, fancy random spots for the RKO they don't salvage anything for Randy Orton. It's not like, it's okay, just snooze throughout this, but set an alarm for 2 minutes before the match is over and we'll see him set up a fancy RKO finish out of nowhere, quote unquote. Is it really out of nowhere at this point? We know he's going to hit it. So, cut to another point where they're backstage and they're talking to Randy Orton, and Randy's talking about how actions speak louder than words, which is really funny coming from a guy who doesn't do actions and who barely speaks any words. He just doesn't do a damn thing except celebrate who he is. And that's kind of frustrating, especially considering he's still in title contention. I don't even know anymore. We do have to look forward to the fact that the main event of the night is Kevin Owens, versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And I mean, this match has big time pay-per-view main event feel all over it, because everybody knows it should be this way. Should be this way, so much so that there should be no... This shouldn't be on TV. Should not be on free TV. It just shouldn't. This should have been saved and built up for something else. While we're on the topic of my spirit animal, Shinsuke Nakamura, why are we calling him the artist, WWE? Shinsuke Nakamura is Shinsuke Nakamura. That's all he needs. He used to call himself Swagsuke. We dropped that. Just calling him Shinsuke Nakamura. We don't need to call him the artist. How is he an artist? We can't let him do all of the things that he does. Honestly, it puts him up on such a high pedestal that it's... And if anybody knows anything, you never put the pussy on a pedestal. You just don't. He's so far up there that it just builds up this expectation that he is going to be God's gift to the wrestling ring. And you know the casual fan's going to look at the fact that his moves are fantastic but sloppy. They are done well, but they are sloppy. People are going to look at that and be like, he's the big deal? Really? Because all I see is a guy that can barely throw a kick. And that's not fair. That's WWE burying him before they've even picked a plot of land out for him. And that's heartbreaking. I was excited about this match, and all in all, the match was not bad at all. Sami Zayn was supposed to be out on commentary because he was talking up the fact that he doesn't know anything about Shinsuke Nakamura. He knows a lot about a lot of his opponents, but he doesn't... Please stop. Zayn, you're over, but you're not over enough to be the fire under the people's asses about Shinsuke. It's not going to work. Well, while he's there, he gets his ass handed to him by Baron Corbin, the resident bully. And I got a question. He's throwing him around and he's hitting him with ladders. Why are there so many goddamn ladders in this one area? There's like one curtain hanging somewhere that you wouldn't need a tiny ladder for. And then the really big ladders are just... I mean, I get it. They're going to have a ladder match. All right. He could beat him up any other way. Doesn't need to be throwing him into ladders. It's symbolism, Josh. You don't understand symbolism? Yes, I understand symbolism. You want a symbol? Go fuck yourself. Anyways, so since Sami Zayn can't make it to commentary because, whoops-a-daisy, he's been thrown through a bunch of ladders, Baron Corbin comes out to do commentary, which is a fucking brilliant idea. A talking rectum would be better on commentary than Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin dropped a bunch of, I don't want to, I wouldn't want to listen to him either. Yeah, that was good. I beat him up to just see I beat him up. That was a good one. Ugh. Just, ugh. So he's out there on commentary for the match. The match goes, it's all right for these two for a free match. I think a pay-per-view match between them should still happen, and it can go the whole 9 yards and be really, really good. Especially considering Shinsuke Nakamura is my spirit animal, Samoa Joe is my waifu, Kevin Owens is the side piece. God, just so looking forward to this. It's not like they ruined it. They didn't exactly make the best of it either. I mean, maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe they were told, don't ham it up. We need you to take it kind of easy on this because we want the fans to be excited to see the rest of it. Match ends. Shinsuke goes over with the Kinshasa. An ugly one at that. Like, it wasn't his usual running, standing knee kick. It was more of a diving one, which was a bit strange, but either way, it was what it was, and it was there. Shinsuke is celebrating in the ring. Corbin slinks in and hits him with the end of days, which was good, because it did look good, and it was interesting to see because it made it look like Shinsuke is not invincible, which is good. And it was another thing, kind of like what I said earlier with Tamina, it looked really good to have him stand that tall, though I don't think he's going to win it. I don't honestly know who I think is going to win it. It's strange. I know who I want to win it. I also know that there's at least one person in this match I don't think should be in it, and it's going to sound very strange, but my spirit animal should not be in this match. Honestly, neither should Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has a title. He should be defending the title at the pay-per-view. Or having a Money in the Bank for that, like a ladder match for that. Give them that. Give them a ladder match at Money in the Bank for his title. Or something. They don't need to be in this match. They don't need to be lifted up all that high. Mojo could have been on this. Luke Harper could have been on this. Even Eric Rowan, who has done next to nothing, could have been on this. Anybody could have been on this. Hell, give it to one of the Breezango guys, or both of them. Take them both out and put Breezango in it for some odd reason. I don't even give a shit. Somebody else other than Shinsuke Nakamura should have been in this. The Perfect 10. The perfect 10 should have been in this. That would have been a perfect lifting point for him. He would have looked great in the match and everything. It would have been magic. But no, who knows if he's probably going to be on the opening segment again, because that's what they do. They take the high talent and they stick it in the beginning where nobody's going to watch it, and the crowd isn't even fully into the arena to watch it yet. And now we're coming to my favorite part, which is going to be where I I break down NXT, which was the superior show, as I said, which it always is. Start off with Heavy Machinery, two big old boys, taking on Lars Sullivan and some other guy. I didn't even think to write the name down. Lars Sullivan, who has previously had other names, is an absolute ape. He is a full-on gorilla. He's going places. You want that next big monster heel, he's gonna be it. He seems a little green, especially considering when he's talking, he has that sort of Mike Tyson thing going about him. I mean, he doesn't necessarily talk like this, but he definitely doesn't have a booming voice. But he roars. When he gets in there and he gets mad, he definitely lets out a roar. He's in there with one of the members of Heavy Machinery, and he's as big as he is. And they're, tit for tat, toe to toe. Sullivan's partner gets himself tagged in when he thinks they have the upper hand, and of course, because he is a 16th the size of Heavy Machinery, he just gets flattened. Heavy Machinery is the tag team that I wanted to be back when I used to wrestle. We had a friend who was also a big old boy, just like I am, and I wanted a tag team with him where we crushed people. We wouldn't go by this gimmick, there would be no boom shakaloo or anything like that, but we would have crushed people. And that's what these guys do. I'm interested to see how they're going to work with the Authors of Pain, considering the Authors of Pain are also big, but I don't think they're as big as these two are. That's going to cut a good chunk of what makes the Authors of Pain the Authors of Pain. Have a few pet pieces reminding us about the women's three-way elimination match that's coming up next week. I'm excited about that because their match at NXT TakeOver Chicago was good, but I think it could have been better. Mind you, I don't know if this one's going to be any better. I have no idea. With it being elimination style and everything, I'm wondering if that's going to leave room for some kind of outside interference from somebody. Or, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. We know one thing. Asuka's in there, and it's going to be great. I haven't seen enough of Nikki Cross to know whether or not I'm a fan or not. I'm a fan of the crazy, but I don't know if I'm a huge fan of everything else. I haven't really seen what she has chops-wise in the ring. So I'm excited to watch a little bit more of her. And Ruby Riott it's fun, but I don't know. The gimmick doesn't really work for me, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't necessarily have to work for me. She is solid in the ring, and that's really all that matters to me. We have a bit where Roddy Strong comes out and thanks the crowd for giving him so much compassion and love and appreciation for everything that he does, and he's super happy about it and everything. And it's all touching. Talks about how he's doing this for his family, how he has to be the absolute best. He just has to. And that's great. I love Roderick Strong. He was great in ROH, in the indie scene. The Messiah of the Backbreaker, which is great because that's not a common thing. Yes, some people do backbreakers, but nobody does as many as Roderick Strong does. And they're all great. They're all devastating. I'm glad to see that he dropped the sick kick because it's way too similar to the Claymore that Drew McIntyre does, which, the running kick. And, you can't have two people using the exact same finisher, I'm sorry. Though the end of Heartache, the suplex into double knee backbreaker, that's a toughie. That's going to be hard to pull off on a lot of people. Strong is strong, but it's going to be tough. I think he might want to go back into the half and half, or actually he should go with his double knee gutbuster from the Fireman's Carry. That's what he should go back to, because nobody's using that in WWE anymore. Or in this case, NXT. While he's talking and thanking the fans, out comes Bobby Roode. And he's got, I think it's athletic tape that he's wiping his eyes and his nose with, and he's, just give me a minute, I got the vapors. It's a good segment. It was very good segment. Talking about how one day he'll be mediocre. It was great. Bobby Roode is a fantastic heel champion and exactly what NXT needs, because he's fantastic in the ring, he's fantastic on the mic, he looks good, he carries himself good, he puts himself in a suit, and he looks like the champion. And that's exactly what you want. And with an entrance that is that glorious, that over. You can't beat it. There is a permanent place etched for him on the main roster whenever he goes in, and he can feud with anybody. But I don't want to see him go just yet because we don't have enough talent in NXT to really push the main event yet. The only way to do it otherwise is to get rid of him and have it turn into, have Raw or SmackDown start acting a little bit more like NXT and have NXT become legitimately the lower undercard people while they're training and learning how to be superstars. Main event was Oni Lorcan versus Hideo Itami. Oh my goodness. I just watched a bar fight. They beat the piss out of each other. It was so good to watch. Itami is really starting to show more and more of his old Kenta ways, and I couldn't be happier to see it. Because when he came in, he was so soft, so just gentle. And I don't know if it was somebody got in his ear backstage and said, look, we know you can hurt people. Please don't. Just put a pillow on all of your shots, please. Just don't do that. That thing, stop doing that. We can't have you do this. It's too soon after CM Punk ruined everything for you to do the go to sleep, so we need you to do something else. Oh, and you can't do your running knee kick anymore because Daniel Bryan was doing that. And even though Daniel Bryan's retired, we can't have you doing that. So you're out of a finisher until then, which is okay because you're barely going to win. And then you're going to get injured. And then you're going to get injured again. I feel bad. And with the rumor mill running wild, thanks to Dave Meltzer and stuff, that Itami's going back to Japan when his contract's up because he hasn't been satisfied with this, that bums me the fuck out because I love Hideo Itami. I love him. We need more strong style. Not all strong style. There's too much of that is, in fact, like I said, cannot eat the same meal every night. Too much strong style is like eating too much of the same meal 3 to 4 times a night every night of the week. It's too much. Anyways, they're in there, and Oni Lorcan is a tough son of a bitch. The guy just, he takes a whooping, and he gives a whooping too. Like, he slapped the taste out of Itami's mouth a bunch of times, and he's great. He needs something more than just, I'm from Boston and I have a sneery face. More than that. Like, he needs something, some kind of character dynamic. Doesn't have to be he works for a living. Doesn't have to be a job. Doesn't have to be anything. Just something. Some character quirk besides his face that sells him. A little bit of marketability goes a long way in WWE. And being that I'm from Boston and I'm a really tough guy, it's not going to cut it. But they had a fantastic match, ending with 3, count them, 3 go-to-sleeps. Go-to-sleeps him once, drags him up off of the mat, go-to-sleeps him again, and then forcefully drags him up off of the mat and go-to-sleeps him a 3rd time. And as he looks like he's going to pick him up for a 4th, the referee says, wait, this is borderline homicide. You need to stop. And out comes Sonny Bono, Cassius Ohno, to stop it. And just, dude, what are you doing? Stop. Don't beat up my friend. You're my friend too, but don't beat up my other friend. And he did a good job looking conflicted. The problem is Itami is so tiny compared to Cassius Ohno. Cassius Ohno's a big boy, and everybody's, all happy to see him back. I don't like the look. He looks great in a suit, but I hate his ring attire. The chunky thighs and the awkwardness. His strikes are slow. They're very messy. And you can slap your legs all you want. That doesn't necessarily make the strike that impactful if you throw it like grandma in a pillow fight. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. I know everybody loves Cassius Ohno. Chris Hero was great. I'm upset that he's dropped the Chancery. He was the messiah of the Chancery. He would just do it every possible point he could. But he doesn't do it anymore. He's all about the leg slap. All about them knee slappers. So he gets in, he stomps him. Itami shoves him. He shoves Itami back and bowls him over. And he has that look like, I don't want to hurt you. Please don't make me hurt you. And Itami walks away, having been scolded by his friend. And this is obviously, they're setting up a big match between these two. And I do feel like it's going to be a good match. It should be anyways. I just don't think it's going to be as hard-hitting as some people think. Because as I said, Cassius Ohno is not that aggressive. For everything he throws lightly with slapping his legs, Itami throws legit. Itami doesn't need to slap his thigh to get the impact in there. He gets it in there. So that's the weekly rundown. All in all, the week wasn't that bad. Like I would say, there was enough high spots to where I'm interested in the upcoming events. There was enough on Raw to keep me fascinated that I'm like, hey, maybe, just maybe, something interesting's coming out of it. Plus, that Joe segment was so good. And so was the Joe match. And honestly, Roman Reigns' match with Bray Wyatt was good, too. I need more good wrestling on Raw. Raw should be about wrestling, as should SmackDown. SmackDown just really needs to solidify a few things, and they need to stop. And I said this before in my last one. I'm going to say it in this one. We have the main event on SmackDown, Kevin Owens versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Kevin Owens is the United States champion. He came out first. I don't give a damn how over my spirit animal's entrance is. It'll be just as over whether he comes out first or second. So have him come out first. And then you have the champion come out last, because the champion comes out last. God, I cannot stress that enough. And NXT, always good. Looking forward to the fact that Drew McIntyre is going to be in action this week. That excites me, because Drew McIntyre is fantastic as well. I mean, when he came into WWE, I melted. Like, oh. And I'm sorry, he's gorgeous. You just can't... You can argue with me, but I tell you, you're wrong. And he's fantastic in the ring. That's twofer. So I'm excited for next week, and I'm excited to talk to all of you again next week. Now, I know I said what I'm looking to do and what I'm planning on doing. Now, to add to that list, I'm also planning on, like I said, I'm going to have friends on here at some point, and I will get a few of them on here. I've had some very interested people, and I plan on doing that. I just need to get more of a solid schedule down with this, and I need to get to the point where, it's got a little bit more of a format. Speaking of formats, next edition, I do plan on having a top 5. I'm going to do a top 5 missing in action, God damn it, I miss you, where art thou wrestlers. These are going to be 5 people that I miss the impact they had on the ring. Now, they could be gone because they're gone, like they've passed away. Could be gone because they're retired. Could be gone just because they've moved on to other federations and I don't watch them anymore. Odds are it's probably going to be one of the two former, because I'm looking forward to those as well. They give me something to really, really go over. Part of me wants to save them until I have guests, just because I can bounce it off of people. But, sometimes that just doesn't play out that way. And I'm still okay with doing them. Anyways, I'm your host, Mr.NSFW. I want to thank everybody again for listening to my last podcast. I want to thank you so much for listening to this one and taking a little bit of time out of your day to listen to this face for radio, this voice for silent film, this unbelievable asshole that is me. Well, I berate you with my opinion and bog you down with my stupidity. I want you to know that I love the fact that you're listening to me. How egotistical was that? I can't promise that Dusty won't be back. I'm going to try to see if I can lock the door. I'm definitely changing the password on the computer. I'm definitely changing that. But until next time, I hope everybody listens to this and has a good time. Feedback is always appreciated. And thank you so much. Until next week, where I give you another rundown, Mr. NSFW signing off. Goodbye, everybody.